Hi everybody, my name is aveenolotion, and if you know me or don't, doesn't matter. All you need to know is that I like video games, and just like everybody else, I like speculating, getting hyped, sequels, and gaming news in general. And with the gaming awards coming up very soon, I wanted to make a video talking about all the upcoming rumors, leaks, and things to expect from the Game Awards 2018. So for those of you who are only looking to hear about one game or one studio, feel free to check out the table of contents I made below to find exactly what you want to see. So for context's sake, the Game Awards is an annual award ceremony honoring achievements in the video game industry. Not a hard solve there, but the show is produced and hosted by games journalist Jeff Keighley, running since 2014, who used to work on the Spike Video Game Awards, the predecessor to the Game Awards modern day. Now there's a good chance from a statistical standpoint that most people are not that aware of the Game Awards, and you might think, why is that? Well, simple enough, it's because when it comes to Game Awards for video games, it still hasn't found its icon. The Oscars, Emmys, and Grammys are all more or less seen as the awards for their field, if not the one most attention is given to. However, video game awards are vast and plentiful, wide-ranging in amount, size, scope, and money invested. So while certain ones are much more known and given higher overall investments, none have fully objectively solidified themselves head and shoulders over the rest in the general consensus. However, the Game Awards has been working on the right track to seemingly do that. Regardless, none of this matters. Why? It's simple, mainly because I don't come for the awards. While developers and the vast teams that go working day in and day out to make these wonderful video games that we all enjoy deserve to be praised and awarded for the work they put in, unless you avoid gaming communities and people online in general, these awards actually have very little influence back on me and you as a consumer. Really all we're going to get from this is it'll tell us what games are going to have Game of the Year editions next year, or it's going to let us know which games are going to be the topics of very clever memes about games being snubbed, or being shitty or not worthy of nomination, or if the game is super popular and highly praised, people are going to come out and say, oh, finally it's getting the praise it deserves, depending on who you ask. Half of those are going to apply to Fortnite, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, just like all forms of entertainment, it comes down to a matter of opinions, and I can't wait to hear people tell me why every game I love will now be nowhere as good as Red Dead 2 or God of War because they have won the Game of the Year awards. And let's be real, not inputting my own opinion, but they're going to give the award to one of those two games. But I digress. I love to see all the people within the industry get to have a get-together to applaud their hard work and effort and show appreciation to those making solid games and advancing the industry in our favor as the consumer. However, that's not what gets me pumped for the award show. What gets me pumped is what the Game Awards, and more specifically Jeff Keighley, do year after year to try to reinforce the value of the Game Awards, and that's the game reveals and news that they drop. One of the biggest values of the Game Awards over other video game awards shows so far is that the reveals and trailers dropped throughout the event are head and shoulders above the rest. Just for reference, 2017 showed us cool stuff like From Software's Shadows Die Twice, Bayonetta 3, Death Stranding, GTFO, Metro Exodus, Dreams, and the Champion's Ballad DLC for Breath of the Wild. 2016 highlights even included Breath of the Wild in its original, Death Stranding's first teaser, Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition, the new Prey series, Mass Effect Andromeda, first footage of the Assassin's Creed film, it's funny enough, and the Guardians of the Galaxy game from Telltale, RIP. And this year, looks like it's going to be just as fun to theorize, especially with all the people coming out of the woodwork to do the little dances and moves they do to tease and tweet about secret projects and announcements coming. So before I start breaking into each of the studios and games that have been talked about, I want to give just a context of everything that we can expect going forward. And Jeff Keighley, again, on November 27th, released a video talking about some of the things to expect from the awards show this year, and he went on to talk about how they want to improve on the great response they got from 2017 and since this is their 5th year doing it, they want to make sure they can take it another step up and constantly make it more legitimate. And so that means a lot of things, including bringing back the video game orchestra that went so well last year, bringing in Hans Zimmer, bringing in a bunch of big names beyond just the scope of the video game industry, as well as making sure that the news that they are able to drop in game reveals are big too. And he even went on to say in a tweet that they have more than 10 new games being announced for the first time during the Game Awards, in addition to updates on existing titles. So without further ado, I'm going to go into all of the different games, and I mean all of them, that I've seen pop up online, from the best theories to the worst. And we begin with Rocksteady and whatever you think they're working on next. So, Rocksteady. This one's an easy tell. Rocksteady, specifically in reference to their popular Batman Arkham game series, and WB Montreal, who is related because of their work on Batman Arkham Origins, have not worked on anything huge in a long while. Through the last year or two, multiple different tidbits of information have come to light that reaffirm one solid fact. Video game developer is developing video games. Shocker. We know Rocksteady is working on something, and hundreds of different theories have come up in regards to what they're working on, from Superman, World's Finest, Justice League, Batman again, Batman Beyond, Damian Wayne, Nightwing, Green Arrow, Court of Owls, Suicide Squad, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, to name a few, with some theories claiming one of these is being done by W Montreal, which I'll go into in a little bit later, and the other by Rocksteady. By the way, it's already been confirmed, not Superman game, so let's knock that off the list. Let's shut down that train now with minimal casualties. But it makes sense. You take one cup of excitement, another cup of solid track record, mix in a little bit of existing fan base with the cherry on top that is a superhero property for the super underground character known as Bruce Batman, and you have a large batch of eager beavers who jump at every opportunity to suggest that what we're going to hear about the next project. So every conference, convention, event, meeting, or gathering of people who have a smartphone that exceeds a capacity of 10 has been rumored to be where Rocksteady would announce their next project. So it's not shocking that someone would suggest this theory for the Game Awards. And it's expected, but call me a Stockholm Syndrome Batman lover, I held a little hope that it would finally be announced at this Game Awards, but Rocksteady already put the bullet in that head, and they already went ahead and announced that they will not have anything at the Game Awards because they are not ready to show anything yet, like they've said at every other Game Awards this year. I just really want another game from them. But we move to WB Montreal with a little more hope. Now, the other half of this Batman / superhero / literally any property under the sun video game theory comes from WB Montreal, another video game studio, and for people unfamiliar, they made Batman Arkham Origins, and if you don't even go that far, they made that really cool Batman vs. Deathstroke trailer you might have seen online. They've had a few rumors running that they are actively working on 2 games under the DC properties fold. Currently, the most prominent ideas were Suicide Squad game on one half and Damian Wayne game on the other. But either way, they don't have a wider variety of games in their past, most of their work being on the Batman games, helping out Rocksteady, with Batman Origins being the only one they took the lead on. So all of the theories and whatnot that are thrown at Rocksteady are also thrown equally at these guys, and while most of the sentiments apply the same as Rocksteady, the one difference is that there's actually something to talk about that wasn't just posted by some random user on Reddit who heard from his uncle that something is definitely coming but can't be proven at the moment. And that is from the words of WB's own assistant producer, who had been talking about how great her work environment is, wearing shirts with weird logos depicting imagery that some people claim resembles an owl. And before the whole Harry Potter RPG stuff, which I'll get more into detail a little later, was proven to not be related to WB Montreal or Rocksteady, it was assumed that that was tied to that. However, with that stuff cleared up and not being tied to these two companies, people are thinking it might be a reference to a Court of Owls focus game. For those unaware, Court of Owls is an organized crime group and secret society that exists in the DC universe, commonly associated with Batman, that first made its appearance in Batman Volume 2, Number 3, created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo in 2011. And for what it's worth, the Court of Owls does have a small Easter egg in Batman Arkham Knight. However, to be totally honest and fair and everything, basically anything under the DC sun has an Easter egg in a Batman game. Plus, key Rocksteady members have spoken on behalf of the Warner Bros. Montreal team to make it clear that they also will not be announcing anything at the Game Awards. However, one last note though, through some online scrolling as the internet tends to do in between its Reddit breaks, WB Games Montreal employees' LinkedIn pages were found to reference something called Project 2019, which, while it's literally just a name, however it does have 2019 in the name, means that most likely this game will be coming in 2019, which means we should be hearing about it soon enough. Now, speaking of cryptic teases that we really overanalyze, everyone's favorite Gearbox, or more specifically Borderlands 3, also made a tweet that seems to tease their involvement in the Game Awards. Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, tweeted, "My to-do list today has just 3 things on it, but I also have 3 meetings scheduled before 3 p.m. Is the universe telling me something?" So if you guys didn't get it, the secret slime word is 3. Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford is referencing 3, the number 3. And using my expert deductive reasonings and looking at, Gearbox's illustrious and critically praiseworthy track record of Duke Nukem, Alien Colonials Marines, Battleborn, and we're not going to continue on from there. It doesn't help. And so looking at the facts, and because 3 comes after 2, except when you play Battlefield and 1 becomes between 4 and 5, the only connection that can be made is Borderlands 3. Now, what about Borderlands 3? Well, honestly, not much. I mean, information given publicly over a year has been very simple. It's just telling us that the team has confirmed they have been working on it and that it is coming, but besides that, nothing else has been told. So all this 3 hullabaloo is related to that. Then most likely what we will be getting is some sort of teaser trailer, if not a whole-blown trailer. And I mean, to be fair, just to kind of strengthen my theory, I don't think they have much money left to do anything else so far, considering how well everything else didn't do. And now we look at the Harry Potter RPG. And this one's going to be very short and simple just because as far as what we know, it's very short and simple. So a few months back, some kind Redditor online apparently leaked a video showing off gameplay for a video game, saying that in a mall he was asked to do a quick study test group and he snuck his camera in to record. And what he recorded was gameplay footage of what basically is somehow a Harry Potter RPG game. And in the video, which I will show below, in which a lot of it has been cut down and shortened by different sources online just because of Warner Brothers' heavy insistence to try to get it off the internet, it shows different custom characters, it looks like, in the realm of Hogwarts, traveling through the academy, traveling through the city, even conducting spells, interacting with creatures such as owls, and even botany in the botany class. Basically just involving himself or herself, the character fluctuates, in a bunch of different things related to the Harry Potter universe. And one key thing to note is that when this game first came out, since no one had much of a clue about it, it was assumed that it might have been made by Rocksteady due to the nature of the quality of the game and the fact that Warner Brothers has assumed to have a very strong video game relationship with Rocksteady due to Rocksteady's success with the Batman title and in the Batman games they've made. However, it has been clearly confirmed that it's not Rocksteady working on this game, and with that, now it opens it up for a different idea altogether. Either way, I mean, this leak showing off what seems to be gonna be a very big undertaking for a video game, not just a half-assed attempt. And the fact that this is Harry Potter, Warner Brothers' kind of prized possession as far as properties go, means that this getting kind of a huge deal, big hoopla kind of reveal is basically clear as day to happen. And that hoopla deal coming to the Game Awards is also equally highly possible. Okay, so next we're going to talk about something that's very big and might have a lot of different information on depending on who you ask, and that is the Square Enix Marvel project, or just the Marvel video games in general. However, I want to clarify, this is not including Marvel game Spider-Man, this is including just future Marvel projects in general. So, like I said, this information definitely seems to fluctuate per person and who you ask, so let's start with the facts. 1. We know that there's a bigger emphasis by Marvel Studios and the powers above, Disney, to make more video games involving Disney properties, specifically Marvel. And we just got Spider-Man, which did fantastically well financially. But even before that came out, we had heard about the growing work behind Disney and Marvel Studios to increase their video game properties coming in the Marvel universe, and we had heard how Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix had been teasing a secret Avengers video game, and a while back at E3 we'd even seen a teaser image of this, and basically all it said was, this is a thing, this is happening. And this was a while back, and following most of the logic of the games suggested to appear at the awards so far. The fact that it is a big game, and the fact that a lot of people want it, means that it was guaranteed to be suggested to be announced at the Game Awards. But that's not all. We actually already also have been confirmed that the Russo brothers, or otherwise known as the big directorial cheeses for Marvel Studios, are going to be hosts at the Video Game Awards. And a lot more people started riding the train of this theory with that information. Now the catch here is that Jeff Keighley has had celebrities who don't have an active hand in the industry come to these events before, to add an air of general awareness or legitimacy to these events. And this year for sure, we know, for example, Christoph Waltz is going to be at the event. So it is entirely possible that they are just there to host, an idea supported by the fact that the Russo brothers have proclaimed their passion for video games, being cited as one of the factors that led to the Infinity War Fortnite crossover. So yeah, that's a thing. However, and humor me on this, Avengers Infinity Redacted, Undone, Endgame, Annihilation, Spidey Comeback, whatever you decide to call it, that Avengers Infinity War Part 2 movie is coming out next year. Fact. Whether or not you like it or think it's good or whatever, it's going to be a huge event with a large amount of marketing, public reach, and an even larger amount of profit. Fact. Releasing a game or associating a legitimate attempt at an Avengers game with a hugely marketed event such as that Avengers Infinity War Part 2 movie is a smart move. Fact. So knowing that the game exists and that the movie is coming soon does lend to the idea that we will be hearing more about the Avengers game soon, and what better than the Game Awards with the two directors hosting, right? Maybe, and for what it's worth, with Christoph Waltz being there also, some people think it is a point that the Russo brothers are there as just hosts. However, if we're going to play devil's advocate, Death Stranding still exists, and I could see him being in that game. Or, more accurately, I can't see anything definitively not being in Death Stranding, so maybe Christoph Waltz is not there as a random celebrity, but as a spokesperson for more Death Stranding stuff. So yeah, Christoph Waltz, Death Stranding, naked, oily Norman Reedus struggling, Google it, confirmed. Also on a side note, it is highly possible that Disney saves Avengers game announcements for themselves for a bigger moment, and it's highly possible Russo brothers could announce more Fortnite stuff, because, that happened once before, and they could just be there to have fun with that again. In summary, these theories are all cool, but they could be nothing, and this one's a very hard one to pin down. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is the Obsidian project. So Obsidian, the new studio that's come under the Microsoft fold, and the studio behind such favorites as Fallout New Vegas, South Park Stick of Truth, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Pillars of Eternity, and Dungeon Siege, also teased something new, starting with a cryptic tweet that led to a website that had a countdown and said they were going to announce something at the Game Awards. And the website also teased an image of a gun as well as an image of a variety of cosmetics, and it gave off a space vibe, and so we start to draw analysis from this, and what we can tell is so far this. Obsidian Studios is making a first-person space RPG in which you play as a futuristic space gun that adopts a robot body to become sentient and fight back against the onslaught of alien invaders who has enslaved the race of sentient space guns, turning them into weapons against their true nature as a peaceful race of intellectuals in the alien conquest of the galaxy against a planet of cats. And the twist is that the whole game you hear about how the aliens are scared of the cats because the cats took over the planet of human decades ago and destroyed them, and the aliens are fighting to avoid the same outcome, but at the end you find out the human's still alive, and bam, cliffhanger into a sequel. But in all actuality, not much can be said for this except that there is one theory the game might be related to BioShock, because it is known that Obsidian has been working on this secret game, and it's going to be published by Private Division, an indie label under Take-Two Interactive, which is the holding company that owns the publishing company that has made BioShock games and some other lesser-known games like Grand Theft Auto and Blue Dude Bamboozle. Basically just all brothers from the same mother, and in addition, the images from the website have an art style that could be seen to be very similar to BioShock's previous art styles. But as far as details of this game, not much is known. However, at least for this one, we know we're going to hear about it at the Game Awards, so let's wait till then to find out more. And now we talk about Left 4 Dead 3. I'm sorry, I saw this online and there's not much to say. I don't think this is going to happen, so end of story. And now we have Alien Blackout. So for those of you who are not familiar, Alien Isolation was an amnesia-esque nightmare in space game that basically kept you in this space station, pitting you against hiding from the alien, basically. I think that's pretty obvious. And it didn't do as well as they'd hoped, but the game had done well by fans apparently online. And regardless of any of this, Fox has trademarked a new IP titled Alien Blackout, and this is almost all but confirmed to everyone who has heard this, that they think we're going to be getting somewhat of a CG trailer, maybe a teaser trailer for this game, with maybe some quick snippets of gameplay if we're lucky. So mark that down for probably happening. So next, we're going to talk about BioWare, and before people start jumping to the game Anthem, which is understandable why you'd see that coming here, I actually want to talk about Dragon Age. And so what happened was BioWare is working on Anthem, that's obvious, and in most situations I would have just queued up the SpongeBob laugh track when I heard this rumor and just played that here. However, due to a blog post on BioWare's website from one of the general managers, she went on record to say that, end quote, I will put this in the image above, "If you've been following these blogs, or myself, or Mark Dara on Twitter, you know we're also working on some secret Dragon Age stuff. Dragon Age is an incredibly important franchise in our studio, and we're excited to continue its legacy. Look for more on this in the coming month, though I won't tell you where to look." So, obviously this is very cryptic, and this is in no way confirming that it's in Game Awards. However, if they were trying to look to make a big surprise reveal, Game Awards is looking pretty solid, especially if in the recent month she's referring to is because this blog post itself was posted at the end of November 29th to be obvious. In December, when you're looking past Game Awards, there's not too much of a window left before you kind of are looking at poor times to drop news. However, that's up for people to debate, and we'll see what happens with Dragon Age. So the next game I want to look at is Days Gone, the PlayStation 4 zombie exclusive being made by SIE Ben Studio. And so this one, besides all the other theories I mentioned today, is one that I'm basically putting here because of just logical assumption. And that's because this game comes out April 26, 2019, which is very close, and we haven't seen that much of it yet, and they also did not put this in their E3 showcase, which leads me to believe that if they wanted to make another trailer reveal, this would be the optimal time to do it, especially since we're looking at the next 4 months as probably going to be the final marketing cycle of the game. However, this is just using general logical assumption, and most likely I think we're going to be seeing this one. I think this is a pretty much shoo-in, so look forward to Days Gone. Alright, so moving on ahead, the next game we're going to be looking at is Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey. Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey is a third-person open-world survival game, and the key significance here is that, if you haven't heard of it before, it's coming from the creator of Assassin's Creed. More specifically, we're talking about Patrice Desilets, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and he's a creative game designer who is best known for working on Assassin's Creed 2, and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. And so this game has not been shared so much about, and we've got a bit of a teaser trailer a while back, but the official studio, Palanche Digital Games, working on this, has made the official announcement that they will be showing more at the Game Awards. And just for those who are unaware, this game, as far as we know so far, is described to be a game that will bring players to explore, expand, and evolve to advance their clan to the next generation in the harsh, ruthless, yet beautiful land of Africa, starting 10 million years ago. So, sounds nice and all, but really not much is known about it, and that description probably doesn't actually help. And hopefully what we see is going to be great. So look forward to that coming in the Game Awards. Alright, so here's another big one. Metroid stuff.
Good one.
Alright, and next we have Splinter Cell. Another one of the games on this list that have been highly requested by fans for quite a while. This one, sadly, does not have as much going for it in its case to be revealed at the Game Awards. Mainly, people's main theories come from the fact that in Jeff Keighley's teaser video for the Game Awards, in which he just showed clips from a bunch of different games that have come out in the way of a long time ago, or haven't come out yet, Splinter Cell is in it. And that doesn't really mean much, because there's basically every game under the sun that is AAA has been shown in that, from games like Red Dead to Ori to Last of Us 2 to Last of Us 1 to Call of Duty Black Ops to Infinite Warfare. And they show off a bunch of games, and that I just gave a very poor list there, but in the video as shown, a lot of games are shown, and the fact that it is in it isn't really a strong case for it being at the Game Awards. However, the other part of it, which is information we knew from a while back, is the infamous Walmart Canada leak, where back in June, right before E3, Walmart Canada had leaked a number of high-profile games that had yet to be announced at the time. And so most of the games turned out to be accurate. I mean, that's where we heard about Forza Horizon 4, which Not really, I guess, a hard guess, but still. Gears of War 5, same situation. Most of them, and a few other games actually from that came out to be true. And Splinter Cell was on that list, but it has yet to be announced. So it is possible that Ubisoft decided to hold off from E3 for a variety number of reasons, and I don't want to assume there. And that's why people are thinking that maybe now is the time. Maybe now we see more of everyone's favorite Sam Fisher. But this isn't looking very strong, so I'm going to say probably not. Alright, so next thing we're going to be looking at is a big one, and that is Nintendo. Why does Nintendo get its own segment compared to the other companies that have been broken up? Because Nintendo is Nintendo and the way they do things is different. But either way, Nintendo's gonna be on your mind probably around the Game Awards. I know it because Smash is coming out the day after the Game Awards. So it's only logical to be thinking about Nintendo when you're at the Game Awards and wondering what are they going to be sharing today. And truth be told, if Smash came out a week before the Game Awards, I probably wouldn't have made this video because I'd been too busy playing Smash, but I digress. Smash is coming out, but in reality Nintendo has a bunch of other stuff that they could also reveal, and they've never shied away from the Game Awards in the past, with big Breath of the Wild announcements having been dropped at both of the previous year's Game Awards, and even a video popping up online where I'll throw it up now, where you can see Jeff Keighley and Reggie Fils-Aimé having a lovely banter, making jokes about the fact that Smash's release is trying to overshadow the Game Awards, and how Reggie says that they need to do something special at the Game Awards to make up for it. Obviously, it sounds fun, but it also could mean something legitimate. Now, there are a lot of theories about what this announcement could be, and none are more wanted, it seems like, than something Metroid, and I already touched on that. But in all reality, even not to just rub salt in the wound, I don't think anything points to Metroid, and if Nintendo did do this, it'd be a pretty impressive rabbit out of the hat situation, because I just don't think anyone is expecting it, even though it's on everyone's mind that they need the game to come. No one has any information or any idea that Metroid's coming. I think that might be in the situation where it's probably not happening. What I do think is likely, though, it's a small announcement, probably related to Smash Bros. I'm thinking possibly the DLC character plan for the DLC Fighter Pass, maybe something Yoshi game related, maybe the new Animal Crossing, Luigi Mansion. I don't know. There's a lot here, and that means there's a lot that could be much more reasonable to expect from Nintendo than Metroid. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll see. Plus, and if you were expecting me to say Fire Emblem and all that, back it up, because Nintendo has already mentioned that they will have a separate Fire Emblem Expo in May, so take a guess what I think is going to be talked about at that expo. So, now moving forward, and probably to the last segment, while I have listed several games that I believe could be announced, there's also the room for the games coming out of the blue. Like in previous years, there are games that come out that I'm completely blindsided by, like many others, such as GTFO. And a lot of these games are always great to see, and I hope to get blindsided all the same this year with some new IPs. However, I do want to clarify now that I'm wrapping up that, again, these are all theories and rumors that I saw from small comments on the internet, and I looked up the information to see if there was any validity, where most of these I might sound like I am 100% belief in them. Again, this is all at the end of the day just speculation, so take everything with a grain of salt. Hopefully I'm right on some of these, hopefully I'm wrong and something great comes out of this that I haven't mentioned. But either way, these are all theories, rumors, and the info that I've either seen online, read in articles, heard about, and this is all I know going into the Game Awards 2018. So I had fun just venting this out, and hopefully you had fun hearing the theories and maybe hearing some that you didn't know about for games that you want to know. And feel free to let me know what games you're looking forward to the most. Both realistic and unrealistic expectations are welcome. And yeah, check out the Game Awards on December 6th, Thursday. And there will be a link in the description below that takes you to the page where you can find out how to watch it. And literally, spoiler, it's almost available on anything with a screen. And yeah, then find out what time it's available in your region and check it out. Otherwise, thanks for watching, have a good week, and let's get pumped for the Game Awards. Woo!